Imagine yourself coming across an incident that you happen to witness, and now you're trapped in the middle of being convicted for this crime. Unfortunately, this happens to hundreds of people that are at the wrong place at the right time. Many of these people have then faced themselves with the death penalty as their punishment. This is just an example of one reason why the death penalty should not be a type of punishment. It has been cited that there are many individuals in prison that have been wrongfully committed and awaited the death row. Based on the movie Just Mercy, this is a true story about Walter McMillan, who was framed for a crime that he was wrongfully convicted of and was given the death penalty. He spent years in prison waiting his execution until one day an attorney by the name of Brian Stevenson viewed his case and felt like he needed the help. They were able to prove that the prosecution witness lied on the stand. This is just one case of many where prisoners like Walter are faced with this predicament and feel helpless and nowhere to turn for help. Many prisoners have been in prison for many decades and have lost their livelihood. Prisoners feel like they will never get the justice that they deserve. Families don't have the funds to provide this service for their loved ones, so they are trapped in the system. There have also been executions of many prisoners that have actually been innocent. This is another reason why suicides have increased in prison. According to the onlinelibrary.com, the suicide rate has increased more in the male population than in the female population. Studies show that from the period of 1978 to 2012, starting at the age of 14, there's a huge increase of lives lost in prison. Many prisoners cannot see themselves serving a life sentence with brutality every day for the rest of their lives. Many young teenagers are sentenced at the age of 15 and tried as an adult and realize they have lost their lives. So to them, suicide is the only way to freedom instead of the death penalty. Another source of punishment is rehabilitation, because for some, the system may grant prisoners rehab instead of execution. This is just a visual of from 2000 to 2010 that the suicide rate of the jail is much higher than the U.S. suicide rate. And this is just in 10 years. And many prisoners, speaking of the ones that have been wrongfully convicted, this is another alternative for them to seek a new beginning. Rehabilitation helps them cope with the life they are trying to live day by day with no great outlook. In order for their lives to seem helpless, the rehab helps them put their lives into perspective. According to bear.org, rehabilitation programs also group the prisoners according to their conviction. So for example, all gang members are grouped together to discuss what they have done wrong. However, the ones that have been wrongfully convicted, there also gives them that open path for someone to listen to them so that they can plead their innocence. Other groups, such as sex offenders and murderers, also have their own groups. Sex offenders is also a very difficult charge, especially if the offender is charged with sexual contact with a minor. The system tends to side with the minor before they listen to the adult. A well-known rehab center in San Antonio is Bexar County SCSD. This rehab center provides many services for prisoners that educate and guide them so that they can recognize the wrongdoing with the hopes of never returning back to prison should they be released. This program puts hope back into the lives of many. This is a much more effective approach than the death penalty. Another service offered to prisoners that could replace a death penalty is restoration. According to restorativejustice.com, this started in 1972 in Sao Paulo, Brazil. A small group of professionals within the community came together and felt it was necessary to help rebuild humanity. These professionals would visit the prisoners and provide assistance to them for any type of psychological and vocational needs. Prisoners had trouble trying to learn how to get back into society and cope with real life situations. So rather than give up or end up back in jail or dead, they created this program to help them with a sense of worth and humanity back in their lives. Although this is a religious-based program, there is no limitations for anyone with any type of religion or prisoners who are not faith-based religion at all. This restoration program is just simply to put back hope into their lives because they have been stripped off of all types of society functions. There are 3 phases of this program. Phase 1 teaches prisoners to learn how to live within the community once they have been released. It teaches them how to be creative and reflect on their current situation and try to alter and better their lives and decisions they would have to make in order to survive in the outside world. Phase 2, prisoners are given the opportunity to serve others. They help maintain with the prison facility, they teach other prisoners, and serve in many leadership positions. This gives them the confidence they need to be and try to be successful. In Phase 3, prisoners work in the community during the day and return to prison at night. This allows them to feel confident while they confront the community and have real-world challenges and temptations while they still have a supportive community. These are only a few effective alternatives instead of the death penalty. If it were you in jail, wouldn't you want several options instead of knowing that you could be faced with the death penalty? The prison system has many services provided that actually give the prisoners some guidance and hope for a fair chance to join society one more time. The last thing a community wants is prisoners being released and not preparing them for the outside world. It's a win-win situation for the community and themselves. For prisoners that will never see the outside world again, life in prison, these programs offer them some structure that helps them cope with their situation. These programs help the prisoners look forward to something rather than getting in trouble or sitting alone all day in a cell. This is a positive outreach for them. This also provides the opportunity for them to develop their relationships with other prisoners that are struggling with the same situations. I believe all lives matter, no matter what crime you commit or not. This does not give someone the right to take your life away. This is still better than the death penalty. In my opinion, I believe that while you are sitting in prison, they also allow you to realize your crime, if you committed one. If you do not, and you are wrongfully convicted, then this gives you the time to figure out how you can get help to be released. After all, we are all humans and deserve the right to get a second chance.